everyone, John Henry here, slingshotfutures.com, and welcome to the daily cryptocurrency outlook, where we take a look at our favorite markets in the cryptocurrency sector and formulate an attack plan for tomorrow's trading. And tomorrow's trading is going to be the 23rd of the month. Now, as far as the cryptocurrencies are concerned, we're going to be looking at our favorites along with a couple extras. So obviously Bitcoin is going to be in there, along with Ethereum and Litecoin, all the big ones. But when other ones pop up or have some areas of interest, like we have today, Bitcoin Cash, Monero, and Ripple, we're definitely going to talk about those as well. So first of all, on the Bitcoin side of things, we had a beautiful dip into just a gargantuan area of support. I don't think you can ask for a much better pullback than this, dipping below 4,000, even getting as low as into the 3,500s before ripping all the way back up. So a beautiful buying area for the market to pop back up, and it appears as though a lot of the buyers agreed and pushed the market back higher. Now, we do have a little bit of a descending wedge coming into play here off of the highs, and the market is attempting to break above that. In the short term, looking at more recent price action here, we definitely do have some opportunity to buy small, looking for continuation to the upside. But really what I would like to see is a dip back down to retest this support zone again. Now, we may not be able to get all the way down into the 3,500s again, but what I would like to see is for the market to take a dip down back towards that same area where it paused for a second in the top bracket area of that range, just around 3,850. I would love to see that in the overnight session, maybe even going into tomorrow. We can get a dip down into that 3,850 and then push the market back up towards the highs. The primary objective, of course, being back towards the top to see if we can get up to that 4,500 area. But for right now, just looking for a shallow pullback to retest support and prove that they want to hold it, and then a pop back up again for that finalized move. Overall, though, Bitcoin is definitely on the aggressive side and pushing higher. It has been for a long time. If you're just coming out from underneath that rock, we've been rallying higher like crazy on the cryptocurrencies, and well, I'm expecting about the same thing here. Over on Ethereum, we do have another buy zone potential area just floating around 0.0736 down to around 0.0731. Really what we're seeing right now is a little bit of an overdone move. They blasted higher pretty aggressively, they followed it through, but then all of this wick at the top showed up. The buyers bought into the pullback, not a big surprise at all, but then they didn't make a new high. And they tried again, they didn't make a new high. And now you can start seeing the buyers getting trapped in on these moves and returning lower. Very frequently, what this is giving us a clue of is simply the fact that the buyers no longer want to buy high. They're sick of buying high and getting trapped, so they're looking to buy low. And we're looking to buy into that earlier area of resistance. We got stuck here several times over and over and over, and when they finally broke out of it, that move was definitely no joke. So I would love to see what the response is if we can come back and get a nice little bounce off of that area to rocket the market back up again. Now, the big thing that really stands out on a potential buy off of support here is not looking for a rocket back up to the new high and just rallying like crazy. That's not very realistic. What I would rather look for is a retest of where the buyers gave up last time, right? That huge wick at the highs, why couldn't they hold it up here, right? Something happened. So if we can come back to that area just above 8,200, that would be a nice potential area of resistance and some profit taking, where the market may even start turning back down again. We are dealing with a relatively stagnant to bear trend right now. So in the short term, looking to buy deep, and looking for the correction to begin coming in at just above 8,200. Over on Litecoin, we have a nice little pop here as well. Overall, again, a bear trend, just trying to correct on the bull trend here. And the one thing that's just majorly standing out is this huge overshot on the highs. We have a nice ascending wedge forming through, looking beautiful through here, but they got a little overzealous, and that leads me to believe that we're probably going to get an equidistant breakout through the lows. Now, what I would really like to see here on that equidistant breakout is a return back to the earlier area of interest on this little shelf that formed, right? The market broke up above, they held inside the 200 period moving average, pushed down, held it again, they broke through, now use it as support, and now this time, they're not really paying much attention to it. And because they're not paying attention to the technicals, they're probably going to go back towards structure support instead. Basically where the markets are forming areas of swing highs, swing lows, in this case a shelf where the market just can't seem to get through, and that kind of bands across into that area of overzealousness breakdown, right? And you'll notice it kind of highlights it inside here. This is the strike zone. This is what I'm looking for the biggest area of interest. If we can get a nice breakdown into that area, and then a pop right back up. Now, if you cut that area in the middle, we're looking at around 0.0105, so 1,005 or so. But the top edge of that at 1,006, the low edge of 1,005, somewhere inside of there, easily being the potential area of bounce back up towards the highs. And once again, I'm not looking for a monster rally to break all kinds of records and all. I'm not looking for that. I'm just looking for them to return not only to the highs, that's the eventual target, but noting the fact that we are looking to buy earlier shelf support. It does appear as though we have earlier ceiling resistance as well. So if you're looking to buy in this with a multi-phased mentality of buying in, small exit, pushes back up, another small exit at the wedge, and then another small exit at a new high, that is the anticipation for the move on Litecoin. Looking over at Bitcoin Cash, we are pulling back in a little bit of a wedge, major support coming in, and just, I mean, this pullback looks juicy right now at around 0.144. We can get a little bit lower, anywhere below 0.144, I'll be a happy camper. Looking to buy into the dip down to the 200 as well. We also have a descending wedge, everything coming into play for a support bounce back up. And once again, major resistance coming across the highs, just below that 0.2, going to be the definite area of interest. So not too much to talk about really, just looking to buy a nice potential bounce off of that level of support back up towards the highs, and maybe you'll be able to hang on to it for a little bit more back up towards those overall highs. And then over on Monero, Monero catching a beautiful rip higher. Now, Monero is coming off the backs of news being introduced to a new exchange, but for the most part, we're finding a lot of resistance coming across the highs here. That's that ceiling being put in. All of this failure at the highs. We saw this exact same scenario on Litecoin when they were introduced to Coinbase, where they had this monster rally up. We ended up with a candle that looked very similar to this. It went nowhere for a good month and then rocketed back up through the highs once again. And I'm kind of looking for the same situation, honestly. I'm looking for them to be pulling back, probably stagnate for a while, could even be a period of a month or more, buying into this area of support. That area of support begins at around 0.0177 all the way down. Really anything below that is a potential gain for the upside. But looking to buy into that and shove the market back up. This is more of a longer term hold, just given the fact that, again, it's very reminiscent of what Litecoin did when they were introduced into Coinbase Exchange. Kind of seeing the same thing here on Monero as well. And then wrapping up on Ripple, we have a very strong upside move on Ripple, reversing a lot of this bearishness that's been going on for quite a while. I would love to see a pullback as early as, if we can get a shallow pullback down to 55.20, as low as 52.75. I would really, really love to see a pullback down to 4,500s or lower for potential buying pressure to get that next leg up. We may not get that opportunity, but we have one good leg, a second leg. A lot of times you get three legs on the move, sometimes a fourth into a trap, and then a reversal back down. So I'm only looking for one more leg to a new high, and I am looking for those highs as the potential profit targets. So an aggressive buy and a slightly less aggressive buy, a little more conservative, to push the market back up towards those highs. So plenty of stuff to work with here on the crypto markets, and just kind of an interesting sort of situation. A lot of markets pulling back, giving some really nice areas of opportunity, especially on Bitcoin with that big dip into the below 4,000s. Hard to argue with that kind of pullback. Hopefully you learned something. As always, if you have any questions, you can send me an email. Otherwise, like we always say, make a plan, trade the plan, follow those rules, and you'll be A-okay. Until next time, we'll see y'all then.